Hello and welcome to Adventures in Venueland, an EAMC podcast. This is your all-access pass to go backstage and behind the scenes with some of the brightest minds that cross the scope of the live entertainment industry. I'm Dave Rettelberger.
And I'm Paul Hooper. We'll introduce you to some of our favorite people as we dive deep into the world of live touring shows and the venues that host them.
Today's adventure takes us to St. Augustine down in Florida, where we are talking with Katie Root. She is the marketing manager of St. Johns County Cultural Events Division. And they run St. Augustine Amphitheater and Ponte Vedra Concert Hall. Did I say that right, Katie?
Yep, pretty much.
Let's just jump right in here because we've talked to a lot of folks about, reopening. And that's something you guys have kind of been blazing a trail on. And especially, with amphitheaters, because we talked to a lot of arena folks. So amphitheater is kind of a new thing for you. Let's talk about the amp. First of all, how are you, of all the amphitheaters in the world, how are you the amp? How'd you pull that one off? That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we went through kind of a brand discovery and looked at our identity and what we wanted to be known for and what we do well. And it was decided that we want to be the amphitheater that sets the standard for other amphitheaters. We focus on the fan experience and also the artist experience. That's just important to us to be the best and set the standard. It's, you see a lot of amphitheaters popping up with massive lawns and just kind of more impersonal, I guess. I don't want to dig on anybody, but it's not a quality experience. It's just pack as many people in there as you can and have a huge show, which is great in some instances, but we really care about the experience and we want it to be a good quality one, front of house, back of house.
Well, you are talking to the guy who's from the Ohio State University.
Yeah.
So
We do like these. Yes, we like the.
There's a lot of these in the room right now.
Yeah.
So, Katie, tell us where you guys are at in the whole thing, because Florida is obviously in a different state, literally,
Right.
than the rest of a lot of the rest of the industry. So, right now, walk us through the past few months and kind of where things at for you down in St. Augustine.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we have two things going for us. We're in Florida and we're an amphitheater. So it's a little bit more comfortable for people to come to shows. The health guidelines and officials think it's safer to go to shows outdoors. And so we are open at partial capacity. So during lockdown, during quarantine, we applied for the CARES Act money and we were awarded a large amount of money to basically make the venue safe again and also to communicate that we're reopened. So we spent the last several months developing a reopening plan and just basically redoing the venue. We replaced all the seats, all like 5,000 of them, with seats that can lock so that if a seat is not being used, people can't go and sit there.
Oh, that's great.
Wow,
locked.
that's awesome.
And then we have walk through metal detectors. We switched to digital ticketing like most everyone has now. We also got infrared temperature scanners.
Yeah, you guys are actually scanning the guest temperature before they come into the venue, right? And I think I saw that if you're like 101 or over, something around that point, that you're then not allowed into the venue.
Right. It's 100.4 degrees or above. You're not allowed in the venue. The thermal image scanners are pretty cool. Most people don't even know that they're getting their temperature scanned. It's just this kind of like video camera that sits on a tripod, and as people walk by, it shows on the laptop monitor the body heat. So
wow. When I first saw these, I was thinking, again, I remember hearing about this almost a year ago when the virus and it was first going to be becoming a thing, and I remember getting a pitch for this and thinking, well, are people going to be okay with this? But times have changed, right? And it's just it's such a easy technology. We're using it a little bit here in Columbus as well for our staff before they enter the building, and it's pretty cool. It was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it really is. And something that's kind of funny about it is we've done a few shows now and we sent out post-event surveys asking people how they felt about some of our different health and safety protocols and guidelines. And one of the questions was, rate how satisfied were you with temperature scan? We got like, I guess every show we get like maybe 2 to 3 like people that respond like extremely unsatisfied. And I was like, that's so weird. I mean, I guess people like maybe they don't think that it's necessary because I've heard that argument before, or maybe they didn't realize that they were getting their temperature scanned. And so I started reading through more of the comments, and sure enough, like some people, they didn't think they got their temperature scanned. So that's why they were extremely dissatisfied.
There you go, right?
That's so funny. I'm so mad because I didn't get it at all.
Yeah.
That's, I guess, a good problem to have, in that you all are clearly doing it so well and so discreetly that people don't even know it's happening.
Yeah, but that also made me realize that we need to communicate this better so that people actually understand the process. So
yeah, one of the things that we just started doing some small events, or some big events here in Columbus, but at a reduced capacity. And I noticed that our survey response rate has skyrocketed because everybody's got a really strong opinion right now.
Oh yeah,
and they're very excited to share it. So, but those responses are really interesting to kind of go through.
Mm-hmm. For the most part, everyone's been really happy. Happy to be back, and with our protocols, they feel comfortable, and they're just thrilled to be back at live music.
Katie, I noticed that the AMP has a really great video on social media. If our listeners haven't seen it, check it out on Facebook. But kind of walking through those fan health and safety protocols. How did you guys put that together?
Yeah, so that communication campaign was part of the CARES Act money that we got. Portion of that was set aside or earmarked for a communication campaign. So we went out to RFP for different companies or agencies to help us with that. And this group out of Jacksonville, Beeson 4, put that together for us. And we did a couple days of filming, shooting, and lots of editing. And I was really pleased with their work.
Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen that. And
I thought it was really impressive, very visually engaging. It's really hard to kind of make some of those protocol type videos exciting to watch. Like, why are you going to convince someone to watch a video all about doing protocols? So I thought you all did a really good job with the group you worked with, and kind of making it upbeat, exciting, return to events type of thing. I saw you had a starring role in it as well.
Yeah, I did. So we are so short staffed. I mean, we pretty much, most of our team, except for like 7 of us, had been reassigned to other parts of the county because we're a county-owned organization. So thankfully, our boss was hustling and got all the people that could get moved, and they were able to keep their paycheck and keep working through this and help our community, because most of them ended up in health and human services, helping out with CARES Act grants, something like that.
Yeah, sure. So one of the other things I noticed in the video that is, different from a lot of the other folks who are hosting events again, and maybe this is a function of being an amphitheater, or maybe it's a function of being in Florida, but I noticed that fans, once they are in their seats, are allowed to remove their masks. So that's kind of a different thing than a lot of the venues are dealing with, and it probably saving you a few headaches.
Well, I think it is saving us some headaches, but it's also causing some headaches. I mean, everybody has such a strong opinion on masks, especially here in Florida. I don't know about everyone else, but
everywhere.
So it's a touchy subject. So we are allowing guests to take their masks off when they're in their seats because of our pod seating. Each group or pod is at least 6 feet from others. So if people are following the guidelines as they should and staying in their pod, then they can take their mask off. And then when they are up and moving or in common areas, they need to put their mask back on.
I think you're also like afforded maybe a little more, leeway, like you said, because you're an amphitheater, like a lot of the arenas that are starting to do those distance shows, it's a little tricky because they're, indoors. So you don't quite have that air movement. It's not open air and outside. And so I think one of the great things that I'm sure you all and other amphitheaters that are, looking at this upcoming season are, excited about is that because you are outdoors, you do get a little more, hopefully, a jump on some of the things that the arenas still have to deal with.
Right, for sure. It was kind of funny. I was looking at the 2020 Polestar year-end report.
Yeah.
And we actually ranked number 2 in the United States.
Boom! There's a hot fact drop right there.
because we were able to have 3 shows in February.
Oh my gosh.
Because we're an amphitheater in Florida. So the weather's not too bad here. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. We sold like 9,700 tickets, placed number 2 in the US.
So what is that? How have ticket sales been? I mean, I know without getting into specifics, because, we're all sensitive to that stuff, but are you seeing that fans are, eager to return? I know there's with every team, there's that hardcore fan base that would, walk, through fire to get to see their team. But for events, kind of, what are you seeing as the trend?
Shows are selling. We've had 6 events now since reopening. They're all limited capacity, about 1,700, and they're selling. The fans are coming. I don't know if it's necessarily for the artist or for the experience, a little bit of both. But people want to be back. They're coming.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's great news for all of us.
Yeah.
When when you're looking at events, and obviously, a lot of us are kind of starting to see that light at the end of the tunnel, right? And that light shows off in the distance, but you've got a few under your belt. So what have, you kind of taken away from this experience? Because we've done it. We've all had plenty of time to plan for the return, right? Mm-hmm. But actually do it and learn from what's happening. So what have you kind of learned from this experience so far that would have been helpful to know, a couple months ago?
Oh, gosh. When we started planning the reopening campaign, the main thing we wanted to do is just get people on board with our protocols, because we all miss live music, whether you believe in wearing a mask or, you're pissed off that you have to have a temperature taken. You don't want live music to go away. So our point was, help us protect the health and well-being of live music. So wear the mask, get your temperature scanned, don't come if you're sick, and let's hope that, live music won't go away for a while again. And so that was pretty much our main concern, is just making sure that people understand that they need to comply with these rules and do it in a positive way that lets them know like they're contributing to, live music being able to happen, or they're contributing to it going away.
Yeah. I think that's a great way to frame it, and, making it less of a personal opinion or personal politics, but more of like a overall, like wherever you're at on your own personal scale, this is the fact of the matter. Like, the government, the city, the state is going to shut this down if we don't do a good job. So if you want to see your favorite band, you want to go to that live show, let's all just, put that other stuff behind us, and let's, do a good job and bring about the return together. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a great way to frame it. And hopefully that resonated with your guests.
I think for the most part it has. Everyone's been pretty decent, pretty compliant. I mean, there's been a few that we've had to ask to leave, but overall everyone's really happy to be there and eager to comply.
Yeah. I was at an event the other day, and a gentleman walked in with a face shield. And we said, sorry, NHL regulations mandate you have to have an actual face mask on. And of course, this has been on the website. This has been in his pre-event e-blasts. It's been communicated 100 different ways. And he just looks and he says, no, I'm okay. And we said, no, yeah, I'm so, hey, we've got a mask here for you. We're going to offer you a mask if you'd like one. But if not, then you do have to leave. And he's like, okay, I'll leave. And so he just walked out the door.
Yeah, we had a guy come in, and he was not wearing a mask. And we said, sir, can you please put your mask on? And he said, no, I have my vaccine, I'm good. And we're like, no, the rule is you're required to wear a mask here. And so you can either do that or leave. And he said, I'm leaving. So he left. But that's something I think we're going to start seeing.
Yeah, for sure.
As more and more people get vaccinated, the communication around the vaccines is a little bit unclear. People think that they are immune once they get the vaccine, but in fact, they can still get the disease and spread it. So it's important to stay strong with your safety protocols and communication.
Well, and I could also see people almost like trying to take advantage of that. Like maybe if they don't want to wear a mask and they haven't been vaccinated, just saying, oh, I'm vaccinated, just kind of like hoping that's a get out of jail free card,
Yeah.
even if they haven't been, because they just don't want to, they're using it.
Yep.
But you're exactly right. And I think, as we're recording this, CDC just released some new guidelines around the vaccine, and hopefully that helps kind of lead us into a more, defined thing for people to follow as they have been vaccinated. Because I think you're right in that there is a lot of confusion on, okay, I've been vaccinated. Do I just get to reset and pretend like it's February 2020, or, where are things at? And so hopefully this helps, guide people and saying, okay, like you can do some things you weren't before, but we can't quite go back to the way things were, not yet,
Right. Right.
So Katie, we kind of jumped right in, but let's take a small step back first and tell me a little bit about what you're doing there at St. Augustine, St. John's Cultural Events Division. What is that? Tell me about the concert hall, and kind of just give it for somebody who's never been to St. Augustine, kind of what you got going on down there.
Yeah. So the St. Augustine Amphitheater is, under normal circumstances, about a 5,000 seat amphitheater. It's located on Anastasia Island. It's the island in St. Augustine. It's across the Bridge of Lions from downtown historic district. And we're actually on state park property. So it's a beautiful venue, like right by the beach. So a lot of times like artists will come and they'll take our beach cruisers over to the beach, or we'll take them over in the golf cart or something. It's a fun venue. It's beautiful. It's a great community. It's kind of like a retreat for artists to come play here. And that's what we want to be. That's important for us. And then currently, like I said, it's about 1,700 capacity. We're operating at, I guess, a third capacity right now. The concert hall is just north of St. Augustine and Ponte Vedra. It's south of Jacksonville. And it's just a small club. I guess they renovated an old church and turned it into this concert hall. And it normally seats about 450, and we're standing about 900. But we're currently not doing shows there right now.
So everything kind of focused on the amphitheater for right now. What kind of shows are you guys doing at the amphitheater right now?
Let's see. We've had 6 shows. We had a couple of our shows that were scheduled for the concert hall. We moved them to the amphitheater.
Smart.
To play on our backyard stage. So we moved these Ponte Vedra shows to our backyard, seated. We had heaters out there. It was a really nice, intimate outdoor experience. The other shows, we had JJ Gray and Mofro on the main stage in the amphitheater. We had the Almond Betts Band. And coming up in a couple of weeks, we're having 3 nights of Billy Strings.
Oh, man. I highly recommend. I don't know if you know who he is, Dave.
Yeah.
No,
excellent.
Fill me in. I'm not
excellent. I actually saw him at a festival fall 2019 before everything went down, and gosh, what a talent. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think he's been doing a lot of live streams, and I think he just sold out like 6 nights of live stream at the Capitol Theater.
Wow.
It just blows my mind that people are selling out 6 nights of virtual shows.
Stream. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And then we just announced St. Paul and the Broken Bones. They're coming in May.
Great live show.
Love them.
Yeah, me too. And the Beach Boys. The Beach Boys are coming.
So, Beach Boys are always coming, right?
I know.
Florida residency.
Yeah.
So, Katie, you've kind of spent your life riding that Florida Georgia line, right? So let's take you way back to, you went to college, University of Florida, right? And then you went out to get your master's from Georgia State. So tell me about, making that choice to get that marketing master's degree. And, for that person who's listening, who's like trying to decide, hey, is the master's a good thing to have? What do you think? So
after I graduated from UF, I spent 3 years down in Miami working entry level, first job out of college. And then I didn't really grow my career there. I don't know, Miami was a tough place if you didn't speak Spanish to launch your career. So I was kind of stuck, and I was like, I think I want to go back to school and just change it up and see what I can do. I thought about maybe getting an MBA but I just always felt drawn and more passionate just about marketing. So I found this program at Georgia State University that focused solely on marketing. It was part of their MBA program, but it was a specialized track. So I did that, and And with that experience, I was able to do an internship. I think I was the oldest intern there. Pretty much everyone was in undergrad. So the internship was with the Atlanta Hawks and Phillips Arena, which is now State Farm Arena.
Yeah.
And that internship paid off, right? Because you were there. You made had a good run there.
Yeah, I did. I loved working at Phillips Arena. I loved the people there. I loved Atlanta. We had such a great network of women in the industry there. You guys know most of them. Natasha was on the podcast a few weeks ago. Yeah, it was a great experience. I don't think I ever thought I would get my foot in the door in the entertainment industry, or sports entertainment, and I did. Once I did that, I couldn't do anything else.
Sure.
So how did you make that transition, or what do you think, because a lot of our interns don't make it, right? They opt off and they end up going to do, marketing for a bank or something. So how did you make that transition from an intern into your full-time position with, marketing PR manager there at the arena?
Gosh, I think it was a very fortunate series of events that took place. When I came on as the intern, Amanda Plank was just stepping out to go on maternity leave. So I was working alongside Stephanie Stevens, and because Amanda was out, she was the marketing manager at the time. Because she was out on maternity leave, I was able to step up and do more, kind of fill in more as like the coordinator role. And because I was a little bit older and had some work experience, I was able to kind of step up and kind of show what I could do, I guess.
Well, I think you were recognized. You're being probably more modest than you should. But if you ultimately we've all had interns, right, everywhere, and sometimes certain ones are there to just kind of do what they've been told, and other ones are ready to jump in the trenches with you and ready to help you out. So I think like you're saying is, you all had a situation where you needed more help, and you were the one that clearly was recognized as being the one that kind of stepped up and filled that role. And so I think that they rewarded you, and you earned it,
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good way of saying it. And I wanted it so bad. And then I guess when Amanda came back from maternity leave, Stephanie took a position somewhere else. So the coordinator position opened up, and I applied. They made me go through the whole process of applying, and I was sweating like bullets. I wanted it so bad. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do if I don't get this. I'm going to be so upset. And then so I got the job. And then I guess a couple of years later, Amanda left. And again, I applied for the job as manager, went through all the hoops, and worked really hard, and got the job.
Yeah.
Now, you were there until about 2016, right? And at that point, you kind of stepped away from the industry a little bit. So tell me about that decision, stepping away and then getting pulled back in.
Yeah. So in 2015, I had my daughter. She's Elliot. She's 5 now. And so I was working at the arena at the time. And when I came back from maternity leave, there was some organizational changes, some shifting, and I just had a baby, and it was different, and it was hard, and I didn't have any family around. So I don't know, trying to do this job and be successful at it without any family, it was hard. So my husband and I decided, like, let's move closer to your family. So we moved to Florida, and I didn't have a job at the time. I was like, I'll just figure something out when I get there. And my husband was able to secure a job. And so we got here, and I couldn't really find anything in the entertainment industry. So I took this job with this general contractor. It's $1 billion company doing like massive projects. It was kind of similar to marketing a show.
Well, no, you bring up a good point, though, because I think a lot of us that are in the live event industry, especially after the events of 2020, kind of have, whether by choice or I have these thoughts of, what if I stepped away from this industry? Would I find it fulfilling? Could I take these skills and and transfer them? And then is it going to suck? Because I've been so used to working in this fast-paced environment of live shows and the excitement there. So when you did that and you got to work in that different kind of industry, did you find that you missed that show life, or did you find other ways that it was fulfilling?
Absolutely missed the show life. I missed it so much. But it was, I love a challenge. I like, learning new things. So I was learning how to market construction. I didn't know, first of all, I had to learn all the terminology. I had to learn all these things. And it was thrilling. It was fun. I enjoyed that challenge. So I was there for about a year. And then I got pregnant with my son, and he had a pretty traumatic entry into the world, kind of a health scare. And while I was on maternity leave, I was just like, man, I don't know if I really like Orlando that much. My parents are there, but I missed working in the entertainment industry. I missed the excitement of live shows. And so my husband and I we always loved St. Augustine. My sister lives there. My husband and I got married there. We vacationed there a lot. And we thought, wouldn't it be great if we could get over to St. Augustine, live in a place that we enjoy. We like going to the beach. We like doing outdoor stuff. We just love that little town. And so I was on maternity leave, and I was like, I'm just gonna check the website. Maybe the amphitheater's hiring. And they were. There was a position for a marketing coordinator, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is meant to be. So I got all my stuff, my resume and everything together. I applied, and I looked the next day, and the job was gone. It wasn't posted anymore. So I was like, oh my God,
no.
I hope I made it in time.
Right.
I was like,
yeah.
But I did. Know. Yeah, but I did. I got all my stuff in on time, and took them forever to call for an interview. And so I just wasn't sure if it's going to happen, but then it did. And so we moved pretty quickly and made it work. So basically every time I'm on maternity leave, I end up moving.
There you go.
Well, I think you're kind of hitting on this, and I think it's relatable to people now, is that, yes, of course it's tied to maternity leave, but it's also tied to kind of having the space to really think. And we often, when we're in live entertainment, we're so run and gun that we're just focused on the next event, the next thing that we have, the next problem we have to solve. And when you do get that space to kind of take a step back and say, okay, do I like where this trajectory is going? Do I like the situation I'm in? Is there a better situation? Even if it's not on the professional side, do I want to move and be closer to family? What are my priorities? And It's interesting. You obviously had two of those moments. And I think a lot of people, and myself included, are having that moment now where, they're taking that year, they're being sort of forced into that taking that space and saying, do I like what I was doing? And would I want to change something? And would I like that change? And sometimes you don't, or sometimes you're challenged by it. Like you said, and you get a lot of exciting thrills out of the challenge, but then sometimes it's, something that makes you reevaluate something and leads you to an exciting new opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah. I've never been afraid of change. It excites me. And so I think I encourage everyone to just, like you're doing, is think about where you are. And, if you're not happy, make a change and you'll make it work. I moved to Atlanta to get my master's, and I didn't know how that was going to go, but I had to make it work, and I did. People are afraid if they don't know the outcome of something. Obviously, you don't know the outcome when you're stepping into change, but you just know yourself well enough to know that you're going to make it work.
One of my favorite stories that you've shared on your social media was about seeing Elton John as a father, not as a performer, but as a father, and him finding a way to kind of involve his family into what he does. Would you share that for folks who haven't heard that one?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So when I was in Atlanta at Phillips Arena, we had Elton John playing, and we went out for on the floor for the security meeting. And as we're standing there, this golf cart comes up and just right behind me. I'm like, oh my God, that's Elton John. And oh my God, those are his little kids. Like, it was so cute. He had his kids on tour with him, and they were playing around, running around the floor, and he was doing sound check. And I think one of them even like sat with him on the piano. Like, it was just so cool to see him loving these kids and just in a dad role, father figure. Like, to them, to these kids, it's dad, and to us, it's Sir Elton John.
Right.
Right.
Is he sir? He's a sir, right?
He's a
Yeah.
sir.
Oh,
Yeah.
He's a sir, yeah. Tell us about Dustin, your husband. How'd you guys meet? How long you been married?
So we met in Atlanta through mutual friends at a party, and we started dating and got married probably like a year later. Our third date was to the SEC championship game in Atlanta when Alabama was playing Florida, because he's a big Alabama fan. His dad played there, his uncle played there. He has family in Alabama. So it was funny. That was our third date, and he was willing to take a Florida fan to the game.
There you go. Right. No kidding. That's not a line that's always easily crossed.
No. So we're coming up on our 10th anniversary.
That's a big one.
How exciting.
Yeah.
Katie, before we wrap things up here, making that change, from the person who works at an arena to then working at an amphitheater, and any key differences you kind of noticed there along the way, or is it pretty much you're taking those same skills and putting them to use in the amphitheater?
Oh, so there's so many differences, just due to like the environment.
Sure.
We have like snakes and bugs and lizards and stuff. Like, you never know what you're going to see around, quote unquote, the office.
Right.
But it's nice. It's working in an amphitheater in the location that we are. It's, if I need a minute, I can just go and take a walk out around the amphitheater and just get a breath of fresh air. It's nice. It feels good. The arena was great too. You could always just walk around the bowl, but it's not the same as getting out in nature and taking a moment. But as far as marketing goes, it's not that different. The budgets are different. The capacity is different.
Sure.
The schedule is different, but it's the same principles. Marketing, live
I'm
events.
sure it's nice being at an amphitheater in Florida too. There's ones scattered all over the country, and during normal times, I know the ones in my area, their season is maybe April to October or March to October, maybe, depending on weather. And so in Florida, I mean, I'm sure you all do have a season, and I'm sure a lot of those tours do go indoors and do arena tours kind of around the winter, but you also probably have a lot of flexibility where you could do shows year round. You can do them in January that a lot of other people can't,
Right. We do. And, I've only been here for a few years, but what I've noticed is the season kind of keeps expanding because we're doing more one-offs, more self-promotes in what would be an off season for, amphitheater tours. So yeah, we do have shows in January, February. We typically end around November. Then December, we're pretty dark. So we have like a month of off season to kind of regroup and do all those off season projects and whatnot.
Sure.
Yeah, as we wrap things up here, we like to hit you with our fast fives. We have 5 quick questions for you. We're just looking for a short, quick response here. So see how you can do here. How about your first concert?
Boyz II Men.
Oh.
How about your favorite concert?
Oh gosh, that one is so hard. I think my favorite was Jack White at the Fox Theater.
Wow.
Ooh, how about that would be so amazing.
You've ever met?
The nicest artist, Alicia Keys.
Favorite venue that you haven't worked at?
Probably Fox Theater in Atlanta.
Last question for you. What is your theme song? So in other words, you get your own Keeping Up with the Kardashians is done, and now we're Keeping Up with Katie, and their cameras are following you around, and over the opening credits to your show, there's a theme song that plays. What is the theme song to the TV show All About Katie Root?
Don't Stop Me Now, Queen.
Love it.
Nice. I love that song.
If somebody wants to get in touch with you or follow along with what you're doing down there in St. Augustine on social with the venues, any social media shout outs that you want to put out there?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, Katie, KATIE_root. Facebook, I think it's the same, Katie Root.
The amphitheater is just what? Is it just at the amp?
So the amphitheater is at the amp SA.
St. Augustine. Yeah. Cool.
There you go. All right. Well, hey, we really appreciate your time today. Thank you for joining us. And thanks to everybody for listening to Adventures in Venueland. Remember, you can subscribe and find more episodes wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. We'd love your 5-star reviews so you can help others find us. Until the next adventure, I'm Dave Redelberger.
And I'm Paul Hooper. Thanks for listening, everyone.